You know that feeling, right? That moment when you have nothing to do and time just seems to slow down. I'm talking about boredom. But what if I told you there's a whole science behind it? And it's actually pretty surprising. Let's dive in and explore it together.
So let me just ask you a really simple question to get us started. Do you ever feel bored? Of course you do. I think we all do. It's a completely normal human feeling. But what is it really? Okay, so here's our plan. We're going to break this all down into 4 simple parts. First, we'll figure out what boredom actually is. Then we'll look at what it signals to our brain. After that, and this is the really cool part, we'll uncover the good side of being bored. And finally, we'll wrap up with some easy ways to manage it. Sound good? Let's go. All right, let's jump right into part 1. What exactly is boredom? We all know it's a common feeling, but let's look at what it means from, a scientific point of view. Now, for most of us, when we think about being bored, we just think it's a bad feeling, right? It's something negative that we want to get away from as fast as possible. But here's the thing. Scientists see it in a totally different way. They say boredom is actually a signal from your brain. Think of it like a notification. It's your brain's way of saying, hey, what we're doing right now isn't interesting enough. I need something more. So if boredom is a signal, what's actually happening inside our brains to send that message? That brings us right to our second section, where we're going to look at why we feel bored in the first place. Well, scientists explain it with this idea of a mismatch. Basically, boredom happens when there's a gap between how much you want to pay attention and what's actually happening around you. So for example, maybe a task is just way too easy or super repetitive, and it leaves your brain hungry for more. So what's going on up there? Well, a really important part of your brain, the prefrontal cortex, is what we call understimulated. That just means it's not busy enough. It's kind of like your brain is sitting there, tapping its fingers, saying, come on, give me something more engaging to think about. Okay, so boredom is a signal that our brain wants more stimulation. But here's a thought. Could that signal actually be a good thing? This is where it gets really interesting. Let's look at our next section, the good side of boredom. I think this is going to surprise you. So we usually think of boredom as this negative, empty feeling we need to escape. That's the common idea. But the scientific idea suggests it can actually be positive and really, really useful. And that's a huge shift in how we think about this emotion. So how can it be useful? Well, get this. Research shows that being bored can do some pretty amazing things for us. It can make you more creative. It can help you explore totally new ideas. It can even be the push you need to make positive changes in your life. That feeling of being bored could actually be the starting line for something great. This quote really hits the nail on the head. It says, when we are bored, the mind starts to wander and connect thoughts in new ways. And that's the key, right? When your mind wanders, it's free. It's not focused on one thing, so it can start making all these new, unexpected connections. And that is often where creativity is born. This is awesome news, isn't it? Boredom can be a powerful tool, but how do we use it the right way? In our final section, let's talk about how to manage boredom so that we can put it to work for us. Now, before we get to the solutions, just a quick but important heads up. While a little bit of boredom can be great, feeling bored all the time for a long time can actually lead to some unhealthy habits. So that's why knowing how to manage it is so important. So what can you do? It's actually pretty simple. Here are 3 powerful steps. Number 1, set small goals for yourself. Number 2, just change your activities. If what you're doing is boring, try something different. And number 3, learn something new. These simple things can give your brain the engagement it's looking for. So, after all of this, what's the big takeaway? I think it's this. Boredom is not an enemy. It's not something we have to fight. Instead, we should think of it as a useful message from our brain that's just saying, hey, I'm ready for a new challenge. So the next time you feel that familiar feeling of boredom creeping in, don't just reach for your phone. Listen to that signal, and instead of running from it, ask yourself this one exciting question. What new idea will you find in your boredom?